I'm the scat man. I'm the scat man.
Wednesday, pal. Let's go. NHL Prop Picks presented by Sports Interaction, 14-year NHL vet Carlo Colaiacovo. Good morning to everybody there. 10 o'clock where I am. Let's go. Carlo's already been talking for 4 hours. Carlo's already been talking for, I don't know if he stopped talking. Carlo just tweets things about the Leafs. It gets lots of engagement. I saw that you were featured on USA Weekly because you were shitting on the Biebs.
I mean, I wasn't shitting on the Biebs. I was just trying to get an understanding as to who thought that was a good idea.
How much of a distraction was Justin Bieber in that outfit, seats 1 and 2 behind the glass?
Look, I have total appreciation for Justin Bieber wanting to be a fan of this team, wanting to be friends with certain players on this team. But every other time he has made a presence or made his presence at Scotiabank Arena, it's been in a suite. Okay, never has this guy sat in a seat. Who thought it would be a great idea that in Game 7, where his best friends on the team have a hard time playing their best hockey in, who thought it was a great idea for him to sit behind the bench so that every time they come off the bench, Justin Bieber can go like this?
Yeah.
Hey, thumbs up, man. I'm here cheering you on. It's like, dude, like, read the room. Are you tone deaf? Do you not know the struggles these guys go through? And what happened? They play one of their worst games again. And no, you don't want to say that was a distraction. It's just unnecessary attention. And hey, you want to be a Leaf fan? Wear a Leaf jersey. No, don't wear something that reflects Florida Panther colors. Because you're starving for attention.
Jacket in the history of jackets.
Like, I don't understand, like, the logic behind all that. If you're someone in MLSE or you're someone that's associated with the Leafs and you look at that, what's the first thing that goes through your mind? Why is this guy sitting behind the bench?
I'd rather have the girl in Dallas.
Right? And then,
that's less distracting. That's less distracting than the Biebs.
Yeah, because she's not associated with anybody. And then he sends out an Instagram. He's like, I'm a slut for these boys. Like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing here?
I think he's going through some things, though. I think.
Hey, obviously it's pretty evident that he is, and I'm not trying to take a shot at that. People deal with their issues, and people have, problems that they deal with on a regular basis. And by all means, if he is, I hope that he finds a way to get better. And that is not what I am taking a shot at here.
I know that, but like, I think I'm
just taking a shot at optics. It's like
I think you lose that self-awareness in that situation, which is all that is, because he obviously thought it was something a little about him.
But not just that, like anybody, like the person who sold him those tickets or gave him those tickets, or even the people around them, they could have easily said, hey, I'm not sure this is a great idea. Like,
can I get a fit check before you go?
Like, go in a box. Don't be so close to it because your buddies on the team didn't really play their best hockey. So now are people saying, oh, were they distracted because Bieber was there? No, I don't think people are saying that. It's just optically, it doesn't look good.
Highlight of game.
Yeah, thanks for the attention that USA Week or US Weekly.
Yeah, former Maple Leaf player. No, it's true. I said it. They didn't tag me. Dang it. Yeah. Georgetown resident doesn't like Justin Bieber at the hockey game. That one doesn't.
And I have no issue with Bieber's. I think my kids listen to his music. I think he's, a pretty good artist, but just a poor choice, I think.
Yeah, I think it's all round poor choice. Highlight of that game, there was one. It was just Brandon Carlo's butt save. That was basically the only thing. That was it. I've never seen someone's butt. Like, it wasn't like an accidental butt. It was like right there. That's it. That's all we had. Sadly, like, people didn't watch. You talking about Leo wanting to leave was maybe the saddest thing that I heard about that game. That was it.
Daddy, my son begged me.
Go, please.
My son begged me to go to the game, and luckily I found a way in. And then every time we go there, he's always excited. He wears his Leafs jersey, Leafs hat. He wears the chain with the Leafs logo on it. And he's like pumped to be a fan. And we went to game one. Game one, they won 6-3. He was having a blast. And then there was just like watching the game and seeing the fans leave and hearing the boos. He's like, Dad, can we just leave? And I'm like, there's still 10 minutes left in the game, bud. Because, yeah, but like, I don't want to watch any more of this. Like, that's my son saying. Can you imagine what other kids are saying and other people that are paying hard-earned money to go to that game? It's pathetic, man.
Florida is just emptying out arenas right now. Did you see Raleigh last night? Like, it was empty too. That's 3 straight games that they just walked.
You notice how Paul Maurice didn't come out after the game.
I absolutely want to. Not really, but just
had nothing to say. Hey, it was a good game. It was a tight game, close game. No, nothing to say about that. He knew. Paul Maurice knows when the cameras are on him and what's going to get attention.
Smug SOB. Absolutely hate him, but he's great at what he does. And I just thought, really, Florida's PR stunt after that game of
pathetic, man.
No, but it was the best thing you could. Like, no one's going to want to come to Toronto. They got that. No one wanted to come here anyway because they're losing 35% more money than playing in Dallas or Florida, right? It was the ultimate slap in the face. Yeah, that's a great team. That's the best team that I've ever faced out of them. Just so much pressure. Pressure's dumb. Passenger comment was as dumb as it was. 34 is tough. And he deserves criticism now because he wears that C. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we get 69-goal Matthews anymore. I don't know the extent of this injury. I don't know if it's a back injury. I don't know if it's a wrist injury. What I do know is that since February, this man literally hasn't been able to get the puck off the fucking ice. Even his goal was another worm burner. And where are we to blame the highest paid sports medicine team in all of hockey that they can't get a guy right from an injury that he said came from the preseason? Where's the blame on that?
I think that's fair. I think it's absolutely fair. And I think because of the stance he took yesterday of not revealing what it is he's dealing with, and I don't know what the problem is if he does reveal it. I mean, if anything, it could help people better understand him as a player and him with his performance. Instead, he decided to plant that seed and leave the door completely open to speculation.
And it Patrice really makes Bergeron was worried to tell people he had a punctured lung.
Right. But hey, but all it does, Jingles, is that it opens up more speculation as to why he did certain things. Like, if this is the way he was feeling, why did he go play in the Four Nations? If this is the way he was feeling, why didn't the team decide to shut him down before playoffs so that he could be closer to full health come playoffs?
Before playoffs, before March 8th or March 9th, put him on LTIR. Yeah.
Something.
Before the trade deadline.
So, and that's the fallout from trying to be so secretive about it, because now you're going to leave so many people questioning as to why he did other things versus why he was struggling in the playoffs with a certain injury that he fails to reveal. Now, could be anything. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. Abby saying should have shut him down like a Chuck. Yes.
Right.
The division was.
They were going to be a playoff team.
Yeah. I get it. No. Here's another question. Quick answer. Can Toronto win more than 8 games in the playoffs with 88-16 on the same team? And their style of play. I think you can get away with 1, but I don't think you can get away with 2.
Well, it's such a difficult question to answer, because if you were going just based on recent history, you're going to say no, because they've been given 8 chances to do it. They're 0-8 in winner-take-all games with these guys as the core mix. And you've heard me talk about it the last 2 days. I'm not against change. I've been preaching like everybody else that this mix together of good players doesn't work.
Exactly. You need the Kachuk change.
I'm against letting a player like Marner walk
for nothing. Agreed.
Because it's hard to find really good players in this league, either by drafting and developing them, by trading them, or by signing them. It's hard to find them. And when you have them, when you lose them, you'd like to get something in return versus having to watch them leave and recoup nothing for it. Because think about how much this team has invested in him and the other guys when it comes to salaries. They've invested a lot of their salary cap every year in them. They've invested a lot of their assets, past and future. I mean, you look at their next 2 drafts. Next 3 drafts, they don't have a first-round pick.
No.
They have 1 second-round pick and 1 third-round pick in the next 3 drafts. So if you lose him and you can't sign a big player like him in the free agent market, okay, then you look at the trade market. What are you trading to acquire these guys?
You have no assets. You have no trade.
And here's the other thing. And I get people are angry, and I get it. People want to make emotional decisions and have emotional reactions. You kind of got to look in the perspective window. The Leafs have played in one of the hardest divisions in hockey over the last 5-6 years. I mean, it's going to be 6 years. If Florida makes the Stanley Cup final this year, that'll be 6 years in a row that an Atlantic Division member has made the Stanley Cup final. 3 Tampa, 3 Florida.
Yeah.
The Leafs just lost in Game 7 to Florida. Now, they didn't play their best, but regardless, a loss is a loss. Tampa is going through a retool. Florida at some point is going to fall off here. Science says it's going to happen. Bodies are going to break down. You cannot play this level of hockey for that long. I mean,
Tampa Bay breakdown. Like it's similar.
Tampa broke down, yeah. Chicago broke down, LA broke down when all these teams went on the runs. Okay. So now Tampa and Florida are due to take a step back. Boston's going through a rebuild. Ottawa just made the playoffs. Montreal just made the playoffs, and the Leafs just won the division. So would you not look at this in a perspective window and say, well, maybe our window is just opening up now? Right?
Sure.
And so if your window is opening up now, can you afford to lose this type of player for nothing? Now, if you bring in a different player that brings in something different, yes, okay, go for it.
Going to bring in Bennett and get 18 goals during the regular season?
And here's the other thing. Making the playoffs every year isn't a guaranteed slam dunk.
No, it's not. No.
In order to have playoff success, you got to get into the playoffs. The Maple Leafs have had the best run in the National Hockey League over the last 9 years. They've made the playoffs 9 years in a row.
I think the Sabres have won more playoff rounds than the Leafs. That joke's pretty funny.
They have. So, look, I know there's a lot of anger. There's a lot of frustration. I share it. And I share it because I hate watching the same thing happen. But the NHL is a hard league to win in. And sometimes you just got to take a step back and you got to look at the landscape of where things are at and say, well, what if we do run it back one more year and Florida is not there and Tampa is a team we can still beat? We were one game away from playing Carolina. And by the way, that's another thing. The record that Carolina has of Eastern Conference,
haven't won an Eastern Conference game. That's
13
crazy.
Games in a row. That's an even more slap in the face to how horrible this playoff format is.
It's awful.
Okay, because I did the standings. I went through the standings this morning, and if you went to a 1-8 format, Carolina and Florida play in the first round. Instead, they're playing in the Eastern Conference Final. Why? Because you have to come out of your division. Well, the Metro Division is nowhere near as strong as the Atlantic Division.
Yeah.
But you're going to have a team at the Metro playing the Eastern Conference Final. Help me make sense of that.
I have to go on Rally FM radio today to talk about the Canes. And it's just like,
But again,
I'm sorry, boys.
so
You guys are cooked.
the first round playoff matchup in a 1-8 would have been New Jersey versus Toronto. Think about how amazing that would have been. Sheldon Keefe versus Toronto.
Yeah, no.
Then the Leafs would have played the winner of Tampa and Ottawa. And then they would have played the winner of Florida and Washington. So don't tell me this playoff format works, because you get to the Eastern Conference Final, you have a team like Carolina that's getting swept every time.
And he won't listen. And he's a stubborn fool, and he thinks that everything he does is fantastic in Bettman. My last take on the Leafs thing is I think it's a well-held feeling among other fans that I just feel as a fan that this team fucking hates me. And the only reason they win hockey games is despite us. That's all it is. It's like, oh, now we need to prove them wrong, and now we play well. And that's what I feel like, because I never see anything out of the press, anything to be like, did you see Ryan? You must have saw the Ryan O'Reilly interview after the shootout loss to Finland, right?
I'm not sure if I saw it.
It was on TSN, and he was saying, yeah, well, we just need to be better. Like, that's losses on us. Like, it's just like, oh, wow, that's refreshing. And Hayes was talking about the other day, if 34 jumps in on that press conference and says, you know what, and just lays it out on the line quickly and doesn't have to take questions, it just stands up and be's a captain. Maybe everyone claps their hands and says, well, thank you. That's
I think there's a different amount of respect that he gains, for sure.
100%. That's it. I just hate as a fan that it seems like they shit the bed and we're like, bro, like that was an awful performance. They're like, whoa, okay, now we're going to prove you wrong. And that's why they always win after bad games, because we give it to them. Yeah. I just don't think they appreciate us. Anyway, let's try to win some money on Mitch Marner next dodge. You seen these ones yet?
Oh, jeez.
Where do you think? No, but like if you had to choose a team that he goes to.
I can think of two off the top of my head.
Okay, and I'll let you know if those are at the top of the listed odds.
Okay, so last year when it was speculated that there was going to be a trade discussion with him, there was rumors that the only place he would accept a trade to would be Vegas. Ooh. So Vegas is definitely on that list.
Vegas isn't even on my list, so that's way down there. There's big bucks. I thought you were going to go square off the top.
And I think San Jose or Pittsburgh are right up there too.
San Jose's way down the list. Pittsburgh is right up there with the favorites of Chicago, Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh and Utah.
He's not going to Chicago. He's not going to Philadelphia. I mean, I just think that there's a San Jose angle there with both Thornton and Marlowe being there. There's an angle there where San Jose can pay him a boatload of money because they need to spend money, and he could play alongside Macklin and Celebrini. And I tell you right now, man, you watch that San Jose Sharks team, they've got a bunch of studs coming up in their organization.
I've been a San Jose fan. I might be a San Jose fan next year. It'll break my heart if Mitch goes there.
So, break my heart.
But like Celebrini's right now is playing fantastic hockey on a wing with Crosby.
And think about, players always want to play with young, exciting players. You add Marner to that mix, now San Jose becomes a destination for people to want to go play again. So I think those are two off the top of my head I can think. Obviously, the Pittsburgh one is the Crosby angle and the Dubas angle. It's pretty easy to
so that one's up there. I do like the San Jose and Vegas angle because it's way down the list and pays a lot.
Well, Vegas has to make a big splash now, right?
Oh, weird. A team that doesn't get to the conference championship has to make moves. Oh, wow. Yeah. Look at you putting pressure on them, Carlo. Jeez. What did you see out of Florida? What did you see out of the Florida game last night? What I saw was Carolina was just kept to the outside in the O zone. Like Carolina's just going to keep firing the puck from the D, go low to high and get it there. But at the end of the day, they just didn't get to the net. And when they did get to the net, that Svechnikov cheap shot was greasier than Bennett's, I thought.
Yeah.
Florida's just a team you can't play from behind. And once Florida scores a goal, you're done.
Yeah, I totally agree because Florida is so good at establishing a way they want to play. And when they get up on you, that means you have to open up your game, which again opens up Florida's game even more to pounce. And I don't know, we could see
using the word gaps, but you heard Sam Reinhart on the bench mic'd up yesterday talking about spacing, talking about the gaps. Like there's nowhere to go. It's one of the
everybody knows what they're supposed to do.
I
on
know,
the ice.
it's nuts.
And when you have guys that just know how to play as a defenseman, you could play more aggressive because you know you have guys filling in for you.
In the ozone, see, you watch all those guys crash. The two D-men
that
crash.
First 10 minutes they played in Toronto was an absolute clinic. They trapped the Leafs on a 3-quarter ice game, and every time they got the puck, they were just throwing it back in. Watching
44 try to get out of that was embarrassing.
I know.
He was pinned in his own zone for 6 minutes in the first 10 minutes. But can you see Carolina making adjustments? I don't see enough top-end talent to get through that. Yeah, maybe the Martinook line, but like that's where it is. They look like a deep team until they sit next to Florida, who got all 4 lines scoring last night.
Yeah. It's I mean, I thought
and then Bob's on his game too.
Like the crowd in Carolina was awesome yesterday. I thought that would have helped Carolina, but Carolina had 6 days off coming into this, and you had Florida just dialed into playing
1 day off. I thought Carolina, I thought the best chance was Carolina wins it just because it's a quick turnaround after game 7. And there's a lot to think about. I get it. A big change between teams, between Toronto and Carolina. And then I was going to jump on the Florida price for the series after the loss. No, they just dominated. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Let's get some plays in here. I appreciate it. Evander Kane for 2.5 shots over there. We're going to go Harley assist at 135. And we're going to go Dallas money line minus 125.
I like the Dallas money line because same angle that I just said about Carolina. Feels like Dallas is coming off of a couple of days rest versus the Oilers more than a couple of days rest. And sometimes it might just take a little bit for Edmonton to find their groove again. And Edmonton historically has been a bad series starting team.
Yes. I think they won 3-2 in overtime in game 1 in Dallas last year.
They did.
McDavid OT goal.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Stuart Skinner's there. He's playing well, but his range of outcomes is as big as it gets, no?
Yeah. Yeah, and which one are we going to see?
100%.
Right?
Now, the one thing that does scare me on the Dallas side is that they've been so heavy on their top line. They've got nothing from the other end. Thank God for Thomas Harley.
I'm looking at a sheet right now that says, what's up with Matt Duchene? 0 goals in playoffs.
They've all been, like, outside of the first few games, Sagan's been bad. Jamie Benn's been aggressive.
Robertson's back. Granlund has been a huge part. Tyler Sagan is back.
And they're running 11 forwards. Rantanen played 25 minutes the other game.
Why? Because they don't play somebody, or just because
he's double shifting?
Oh, because they're playing 7 defensemen.
They're going 11-7, yeah.
Yes.
So I don't understand. So they're overworking him. I put a tweet out today. Games where he plays under 18 minutes, he's averaging, like, he's killing it. Games like 18 to 20, okay. And then anything over 20 minutes, it just looks like it's certainly wearing him down. Can that be a thing where too many minutes gets away from actually being efficient?
Well, I just think a lot of it depends on, the game script, right? Are you having a lot of power plays, penalty kills? Are you trailing? I mean, remember those games? He had big games. They were trailing in most of those games, right? So they're probably getting them out more.
I mean, 25 minutes in a game 6 elimination game that was 1-1 for the second half. I don't know. Evander Kane's getting bigger minutes now, around 17 a game, certainly up from the beginning of the playoff series. And the longer playoffs go, for a guy who's rested as long as he was, I just think he has a better edge in having some better shifts.
Mm-hmm.
How do you describe Evander Kane now? Because he's a dangerous man, like physically, no?
Well, he's coming into the playoffs fresh, right? He didn't have to go through a whole grind of a season, so I feel like his impact is like felt a little more, right?
Yeah,
because he has more energy than most. Look, he's a physical presence out there. There's no hiding that.
If Florida wins, does the whole decor get Conn Smythe? I've never been more impressed with I should hate Ekblad because he's a greaseball and he threw another headshot at Jackson Blake on that goal last night. But goddamn, that defense is awesome. I could watch Aaron Ekblad. I thought Seth Jones was just kind of a pluggy PP1 defender. No, he's a thick little boy who can handle his own. That D is so impressive.
He's a guy that, again, is a great example of coming from a place like Chicago that was a bad environment and playing like the team plays, which is bad, and goes to a better environment on a better team and finds his game again. People forget, you can be a good player on a bad team, but ultimately you when over time you just reside to to falling into the bad habits that they carry.
We call that the Buffalo syndrome.
That's true. It can be the Buffalo syndrome.
That is. I do I'm still a giant Harley supporter. I got him at 250 to 1 for Conn Smythe.
Guy's a beast.
He scored. He did everything in that first goal to tie it up after the Scheifele goal. Exited the zone, joined the rush, shot off the goalie, and I think it was Sam Steele or someone who buried it. And then the winner, incredible. Peter Boer's talking about taking him off power play 1. There was a tweet about it, and he's like, "No, Harley will probably tell me he deserves on power play 1."
Yeah,
so the kid's playing with confidence. But even with 7 defensemen,
you don't fix what ain't broken, right?
He's still getting 26 minutes. So I think him at 135 is great. It's like the Zach Werenski was like minus 165 for an assist, kind of in that Hughes area. So I don't mind going for some assists and some plus money assists early in the series as we see a little more scoring. We saw it with, what do you think of that Aho penalty last night? How do you call that in the as the first penalty of the series?
But how do you even call that at this point in the playoffs?
Trash,
right? It's a scrum in front of the net, and he's putting his hand up to protect himself. At that point, if you're going to call something, you got to take both. You can't just take one.
Agree. I thought that was terrible.
And that's just a referee, taking control of a game that he doesn't need to take control of. Let the players decide it.
Agreed. What's your outcome for today here? What are you liking? You like that? You like Dallas? Maybe
I like Dallas. Yeah, I do. I like Dallas, and Harley's been a nice addition to, or a very profitable play as well too.
Yeah,
you're getting plus money on that. Kane won. I mean, we'll see how Edmonton comes out.
He leads the team in shot attempts per 60,
and I'm not surprised because that's what he does. He shoots the puck from everywhere on the ice. But I still can't buy into Edmonton. Still can't do it. So I don't know.
You're in trouble. Dustin Nielsen's going to kick you in the balls. But no, they've proved us wrong. So I think they know that narrative quite well. If McDavid and Draisaitl finally get going, get going is like taking over games, then it could be very scary, especially if the Beast comes back on the blue line in Ekholm. That could be really scary.
Agreed.
Wouldn't mind Florida Edmonton though. Wouldn't mind Florida Edmonton, but I think Dallas still has the best roster, but they are underperforming, I think, in terms of depth. Wednesday in the book, pal. Let's win a little money. I lost my both teams to score 2 goals. No.
I saw that.
And I was sweating it too because you saw the lack of care from the Panthers on that last power play, or that last penalty kill. I'm like, please don't. Please. Oh,
I know.
I'm going to bed. All right. That's what we do. NHL Prop Picks presented by Sports Interaction. Don't forget to download the Sports Interaction app. Got you covered for all these bets. Josh Ingles, Carlo Colaiacovo in the books. Big game today. More tomorrow. NHL playoffs continue. Best sport in the world. Lead us out, pal.
Have a great night. Let's stay profitable.
Let's
go. Ciao.